Inside the Arena is presented by Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, Seattle's closest sportsbook.
Welcome to Inside the Arena, your source for everything off the ice, off the court, and outside the field of play. With your hosts, KOMO Sports Director Niko and KOMO Senior Reporter Chris Daniels.
There's the applause.
I was like, they're not clapping today. Are they not excited about this great episode?
Episode 51, just like Ichiro and the Big Unit.
Well played. You just took both 51s out of the... Like, what other 51s are there? I don't know.
No, but we know two really good ones.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of just stop right there.
Yeah, just like this show. It's a good one.
It is a good one. You had a really fun conversation.
Yes, Major League Cricket.
Yeah.
The Seattle Orcas.
Great name.
Great name, and it's a great logo, and they've been in business now for a couple of years with plans for a cricket-specific stadium. That's the kind of thing we like to talk about on the show. Everything going on off the ice, off the court, off the field, off the pitch, off the cricket field. You're going to hear about those plans. Sanjay Parthasarathy is the co-founder, along with Satya Nadella, a couple of Microsoft guys who have founded the Seattle Orcas in Major League Cricket. You're going to hear about the team, the plans, what they're actually going to be doing in June to introduce some of the new players to the community and what their long-term plans are as well.
Yeah, I got to meet them at the Sports Commission Seattle Sports Star of the Year Awards, and great guys. And it's just, we talked at length back in February about how great that awards night is because of literally every sport that's going on in Seattle is there. This is a great idea of that. I enjoyed meeting those guys, and I can't wait to hear this conversation.
So that's coming up in a little bit, but what we like to do every week here on Inside the Arena, what is good, what is bad, again, off the ice, off the court, off the field of play, in the world of sports, sports business, sports philanthropy. Niko, what do you like?
Yeah, well, here's the thing I like. We're going to talk about our Seattle Storm, and of course, we love that we're partners with the Storm. But even aside from that, even if we weren't their local exclusive broadcast home, I want to talk about, we have an annual toy drive coming up with Alicia Clark, and that's one of the cool things about AC coming back to the Storm is really ingrained herself in the community, being here from her rookie season on until she, went over to Vegas. And I think that I want to just read some of the release here. So it started in 2015. It's a toy drive with Seattle Children's. She's teaming up with Ezzy Magbagor, and it's about delivering these toys, of course, to the kids that are in need, and the Storm that are they're really doing some cool stuff here. They have an aspiring sports reporter, Isaac, who is since he was 17 months old, beaten stage 4 neuroblastoma. So this is the stuff I love. Obviously, I think we all do.
Yeah.
But you're talking about a team that's in the middle of their season. Suppose the beginning, but they're fully bored into the season, and yet they're focused on trying to make the community better, and that's the kind of stuff I like. And who doesn't want to put a smile on kids' faces? Whether you're talking about the toy drive, which by the way, bring new unwrapped toys to their May 30th game at Climate Pledge Arena against the Atlanta Dream. So that's the idea. There's going to be bins everywhere you bring that, but to also help young Isaac. Man, that's the stuff I love. That's really cool from the Storm. So well done. That's as positive as it gets when you talk about our four corners.
Great coverage, by the way.
Thank you.
Before the Storm.
That was a lot of fun. Kelly Koopman, she brings the energy on the show with Hard Turn Podcast and in the pickleball court. And I let her down, full disclosure, because we're teammates in the KOMO tournament. And she played incredible. I played poorly, and we lost to our opponents. And
what you're saying is Kelly's a triple threat. She can do it all.
Easily.
Yeah.
Like a quadruple threat, whatever the next level up is. I don't know.
Well, at KOMO, it would be a quadruple threat.
Hey, now you're talking. Yeah.
All right, so what else is good? I actually think it's good that we have some news about the Professional Women's Hockey League team coming to Seattle. Of course, expansion has already been announced. Now we know Megan Turner will be the general manager of PWHL Seattle. No team name yet, but she's been the assistant general manager at the Boston Fleet for the last couple of seasons, and she is somebody with a lot of experience playing the game, former NCAA and a professional player for 4 years at the university level before going on to the CWHL and the PWHPA, and she's built a consulting firm on the side. That's a big hire, first hire really for PWHL Seattle, and we actually know now how they're going to draft their team. And it sounds like they're going to have a pretty good team out of the gate based on these expansion rules, and it's all going to happen here pretty quick. So So Megan's going to have a lot of work to do here in a short amount of time, by the way. There's an exclusive signing window that opens on the 4th, and then the expansion draft will be held on June 9th for both Vancouver and Seattle. At least 7 players on June 9th that they'll be drafting. The exact number of players selected will depend on how many players each of the expansion teams sign during that exclusive signing window. And those teams only get to really protect a few players. So you're going to see some top-line players from some of these other professional women's teams that will be coming to Seattle and Vancouver. Yeah. I think that's all. It's going to start to feel real for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's going to get real quick, of course, when they start playing in just a few months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool. It's one thing to have the announcement, but then this shortly after to have your new GM, and then just a couple weeks after that, you've got players coming to town. I really like the accelerated timeline, to be honest. And in this age where people can't wait or are impatient, right?
Yeah,
it's not a knock. It's just the way society is now.
Yeah, no, it should be fun. We should know the team for the most part here by the middle of June. What do you think is not so great? What's bad as we go into third?
This is very broad, but it's a rant in itself. Like, I don't understand why and I say we, it's not me or you, as a collective whole in society and media. Like, we freak out over the dumbest stuff nowadays. And 2 things this week caught my attention. For one, Caitlin Clark makes a basketball foul on Angel Reese. Yeah. It was a hard foul, and I have no issue with the ref upgrading it. Angel Reese, ever the competitor, gets mad about it. This is basketball 101. This happened every day in the 80s and 90s, right? Think about it. Yet, here we are, like a week plus later, and there's still articles every day about it. And there's still, it's fodder on sports talk radio and things like that. Like, why? It was the most mundane basketball. I know why, because of who they are.
Yeah.
But why do we care? They're 2 of the top-tier basketball players. And then it becomes, Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. I don't think she does. I think she's competitive. Her team was down by like 30. She's angry. I get producer Bill can tell you, I get mad when we're losing on the pickleball court, and I'm an out of shape 40-year-old. No, but listen, they're in the heat of the moment. They're competitive. They're going to get mad about it.
It took on a life of its own.
That's what I'm saying. It's the dumbest thing to get that much attention. Why don't we just focus on the both pretty darn good basketball players that have elevated the sport to a level it has not seen, and go from there?
I like to say they are. I think time will be the barometer of all this. They are bird and magic.
Yeah.
If you remember what happened back in the late 70s, early 80s, the NBA took off thanks to Bird and Magic. They were 2 identifiable people with different backgrounds, Midwestern, and we see what happened on the college level. Angel and Caitlin playing in the championship game. They go in the WNBA as 2 of the more marketable stars. The NBA can ride this. I think in a certain way, the WNBA, the W, likes this attention.
Well, that's just it, and it's clicks and it's all that.
Yeah,
and because so yeah, it is attention. But I'm sitting here though watching. I'm like, the most average basketball play in a 30-point game.
Yeah,
it wasn't Game 7 of the finals. It wasn't even a regular season that was a 1-point game with 10 seconds left. Hard foul, and they both downplayed it after because they know. Normal. Yeah, they know. Also, why are we getting mad about people's accents lately? That was local talks. I'm not going to dive into it but as I read that whole thing, I'm like, why do you care? Who cares?
Yeah.
We're referring to local talk radio, and Tim Booth from the Times wrote an article on it. Check it out if you wish. I'm not going to give it any more time than it needs to, but I'm like, so he has an accent. He's guys from a different country. He has a different accent.
Yeah.
Who cares?
We'll let people find that on their own.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll talk about it at a later date.
For the record, I really like Ryan Rowland-Smith. I think he's awesome, and he's love the analysis, and he's a great dude off the microphone as well. So maybe biased there, but no, I think it's what are we doing here? So as we sat down for the show, I'm like, the 2 things I've read articles about today were about a foul like 6 days ago or whatever it is at this point, and somebody who has an accent that calls baseball games. Like, what on earth? Come on. Come on.
Let me tell you what I don't like.
Thank you.
Are you
going to calm me down or get me more angry?
ESPN needs to work on their graphics.
Okay.
Can we just make sure everybody knows Oklahoma City did not win the championship, the NBA championship in 1979?
You got me more angry. What is wrong? I don't understand it.
Why do we have to continue to put up that graphic? Yes, we know that the Thunder took the history of the Sonics with them. The Thunder have also never tried to be the Sonics. To
Right.
their credit, they've never had a throwback night. They've never tried to claim that they won a title before. They've never hung a banner down in Oklahoma City. Let's work on the graphics. Let's stop saying that Sean Kemp and Gary Payton played for Oklahoma City.
Right. Exactly. It's like, have you ever seen in college sports when they're like ACC legend and it's some guy who played at like, never literally stepped foot on an ACC court, somebody from like SMU or Stanford or Cal. It's silly. And to you, like you said, to their credit, OKC and the ownership may have done some pretty gnarly stuff to our city, but to their credit, at least since they haven't had to try and claim anything. This has been all like, it's not just ESPN. I've seen a lot of stuff on social. And, it's like, no, those guys never probably stepped foot in that state. They never wore on that jersey.
The championship trophy's in Seattle. The banners are in Seattle. I think there's somebody who just wants to poke the bear and get everybody. I don't want to use the certain word. Let's just say that anger some people in Seattle by putting a graphic up to say that Oklahoma City won the title in 1970.
No, and it should anger people in Seattle because it's lazy.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's like, well, the franchise won. Yeah, but no, you're just looking on a piece of paper and plugging that in.
Yeah. Well, let's keep talking about the Sonics.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Are we going to lower my blood pressure?
Yeah, we'll lower the blood pressure a little bit. It's the Supersonic Minute. There's the air horn.
And by the way, our general manager, Chad, who beat us in pickleball, as I lamented, he's like right outside the podcast.
He's walking to gloat right now.
Oh, he sent me their team logo and everything. We love Chad. But he beat me pretty good in pickleball today, and I'm not happy about it.
Well, let's transition from Chad, our general manager, to the Supersonic Minute, and a nice little moment here. Nate Robinson, who played in the NBA, of course, the Husky great. Everybody, I hate to even think about his interception in the Apple Cup when he played football for the Huskies, but a dynamic player who's been struggling. I think it's well documented. With kidney disease, and he was given a new lease on life by Shane Cleveland. And over the past few days, he recognized him at a special event to say thank you for saving my life. You're going to hear a little bit from Nate and Shane right after this.
Luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Book now for an unforgettable summer experience. Opening this August, wake up to breathtaking Cascade views, enjoy world-class dining, and play your favorite games. Visit snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
When you hit a wall like that, when you need, you get kidney failure, things start to run in your mind, but you just, right now for me, I need to get educated on, what your kidneys do for you, how they work, and, how bad you need them. And for me, I didn't know that, your kidneys is like, without them, you couldn't live. So I just did my research, seeing that, your kidneys, clean out your toxins and it keeps your body right. And once I learned about that, I tried to just change my way of eating, drinking, and my way of life. And now that I've done that, and with Shane's help, with the new kidney, everything's been great so far. And I'm here to give Shane, my donor, a little community gift, which is a plaque, an award for the Biggest Assist Award. He gave me a kidney, and it's a lot. It's a lot to do, and a lot to give back and give somebody like myself a kidney. And I know it's not ideal that just people go out doing that, and I just think that it's pretty cool that he picked me out of everybody to give me a kidney to save my life, and we're here just to give him some love and highlight everything about Shane, man, and how good of a person he is.
I think the best is ahead for him and his family, his kids, and you got to have a team around you too. And I think we both have that in our communities and our families. My wife and kids are a big part of that, and we couldn't be doing any of this without all of those people around us. So thanks so much.
All right, there you go. Nice little moment in the Rainier Beach. It was a health clinic that was put together, and that's why Nate wanted to be there to give that award to Shane, to thank him once again for helping to save his life.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there. And for Nate, like you said, news lease on life, and he's certainly obviously grateful for it. And just, again, one of those guys that we've loved to root on from Seattle as they put themselves on the world stage, and it's been so cool to see. And, really special stuff there.
Well, you know what also is cool to see is the growth of cricket here in Western Washington. The Seattle Orcas, they are once again entering the season here in June, and they have all sorts of grand plans for recruiting international events and also building a cricket-specific stadium over on the east side, potentially. You are going to hear from one of the co-founders of the Seattle Orcas, Sanjay Parthasarathy, right after this.
This August, luxury awaits at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Book now for an unforgettable summer experience. Visit snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
All right, Sanjay, again, thank you for doing this and talking cricket here on Inside the Arena, the Seattle Orcas. You're one of the co-founders of the franchise, a couple of years old now. Why Seattle for a major league cricket team?
Yeah, why, right? Because it rains here all the time. But really, I mean, it's a hotbed of cricket in the U.S. Because of immigration from South Asia, from the Commonwealth diaspora. And so with Amazon and Microsoft and all these tech companies, you have a lot of software engineers and associated roles that have been coming here for the last 35 years. I got here in 1990 myself, and over the years, there's been about 150 to 200,000 really hardcore cricket supporters from the Commonwealth diaspora that have located in the Seattle area, and that's why cricket is so popular here. And the kids, the second generation of the immigrants, are really doing quite well. And if you look at cricket in the U.S., you have age group cricket that goes all the way from 10 years old to about 20, 21. And of the 6 or so of these age groups, Seattle wins about 4 to 5 of the national tournaments every year because we've got such a hardcore group of people. So in 2022 with minor league cricket, the Seattle Thunderbolts won the second year of the tournament. And then with Major League Cricket in first year, we went up to the finals. We were runners up that year. So, it's strange, but Seattle is one of the hotbeds of cricket in the United States.
I think 140,000 people, one of the numbers the Orcas has put out there in terms of in the market that are active cricket fans. And Seattle awarded this franchise a couple of years ago. I mean, it's not necessarily a league with a lot of different cities involved. How do you think Seattle won out over some of these other cities that may have wanted a Major League Cricket franchise?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons we won out was because when people actually came to the city and saw the activity going on, there's been leagues here for a couple of decades now. The Northwest Cricket League and the ARCL and so on. There's about 5,000 active cricket players. There's over 300 teams, and when you see that kind of intensity of the club sport, you realize there's real grassroots support. And the other thing is, Seattle's a sports town, right? I mean, you can have any sport from pickleball to football, and there's hundreds of thousands of supporters for each of these. And so I think the sports culture of Seattle had something to do with it. I think the diaspora from the Commonwealth diaspora had something to do with it. But also when people came in and saw how serious we are about the sport, I think that kind of tipped the scales in our favor.
So let's talk about the growth model here for not only the league, but the franchise. There was a requirement, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, that Seattle needs to have some sort of cricket-specific stadium by 2028. What is the idea here between with growing the franchise and growing the league, knowing that right now the cricket matches are being played elsewhere, Oakland, other spots around the country?
Yeah. So I think in 2023 when we had the inaugural season, I mean, it was all about product market fit. Is there even hope for the sport? And the answer was a resounding yes. I think the next milestone is whether we can cross the chasm, whether we can go beyond, the diaspora that knows and has played and understands cricket? How do we get to baseball fans? How do we get to, regular people? In season one, about 10% of our tickets were sold to, regular Americans, whatever that means, but people who didn't grow up with cricket. And so, we've got to keep expanding the fan base. We'll do fine with just the 5 million South Asians and the Commonwealth diaspora in the country, but we have ambition to get beyond that. And one of the really important things for that is a local cricket, park or a cricket stadium that is world class, because then we can bring in more interesting, more challenging, more fun kind of games and players from around the world. And so we've been working with the local governments in the area for a while now to both, convince them that there's a market for the sport, there's interest for the sport, and the community really wants such a community park. And as you know, these things takes time. We have to work through the process, which we are, and hopefully we'll have something by 2028.
And there are cricket fields right now at Merrymore Park, are there not?
There is a cricket field at Merrymore Park. There's many cricket fields all over the area. There's one in North Bend. Last year a moose kind of prevented some of the games from there, but but it's all over the area, King County.
And I know that there's talk about, hey, there's going to be future international events potentially that could come to Seattle, cricket debuting at the 2028 Olympic Games as well. So this is, in terms of a broad vision, isn't there an idea here that, hey, if the league and the team can get to a certain level, there's a potential to bring some big time events here as well?
That's right. We want to build a world-class, park, stadium. I mean, we're not thinking about this as a concrete behemoth. We're thinking about this as kind of rolling banks. I mean, more of a, New Zealand type, cricket park. But it needs to be world-class, with lighting and, make sure that there's enough facilities in the place and so on. And if we do that, then we can get international games here, hopefully. And with the USA national team actually, enjoying a run of success, we'd love to have the USA national team play against other countries, and that will really bring the spectators in.
So help the uneducated who may listen or watch Inside the Arena on what makes a good cricket player. There's some, commonalities with baseball, some similarities with baseball, but I look, on the website, the big signing, Obed McCoy, and he played in the Indian Premier League, the Pakistani Super League, 177 wickets in 143 matches. He's pivotal to the bowling unit. I think for people who are not following the sport, they're like, that sounds like those are some really good stats and really good background. What does it mean, kind of big picture, for building the team?
Yeah, I'll take a step back just to put it in context, because people are familiar with the history of soccer in the USA. And for a long time, before Lionel Messi showed up, we had what we'll call journeyman soccer players in the league, right? It took about 20, 30 years to get to a critical mass. And when Lionel Messi showed up, I mean, it exploded in a good way. And if you look at the valuations of the teams, it's doubled or tripled. All of the teams in the soccer league have tripled since he showed up. We've taken a slightly different approach. We've said we want to have world-class players from day one. So, first year, 2023, we had some of the superstars of the sport, Quinton de Kock, Heinrich Klaassen from South Africa. And you had the best players in the world play in Major League Cricket. This year, we have one of the all-time greats in cricket, a fellow from Australia called David Warner, who is going to show up for the Seattle Orcas, right? And so I think one of the things that we really want to do with Major League Cricket is to get the best people in the world. Now, anybody from any country in the world, except India, of course, because India doesn't allow its best players to play anywhere else in the world. So we start there. And then you want to make sure that you get these players. These players play in about 3 or 4 leagues over the year. There's about a dozen leagues that happen, one after the other throughout the year. And most players, the best players, play about 3 or 4. The Indian Premier League is one of them. But we want to make sure that we get the best players who probably play in India, in England, in Australia, and in the USA. And the reason they want to play in the USA is because they love bringing their families here. They can take a walk to the mall. Nobody even recognizes them, except, of course, the South Asians, right? So there's a great attraction for these players to come here, and we've been successful with that. And Obed, whom you mentioned, is from the Caribbean. He plays for the West Indies. He plays for us. He plays in the IPL. And so, we're building a team of about 10 international players and 10 domestic players. And the domestic players are really the secret to a team's success, because you can't win the league if your domestic players don't play well. Because in the 11 that plays the game, 6 of them have to be domestic players, right? And so we've spent a lot of time working with the domestic players. And this year, we actually have 6 players who have represented the United States in the last year. So, that's another commitment we've made, which is not just have the best players from around the world, but also how can we get the best players in the USA? Because ultimately, if the USA national team wins, then you gain more supporters and fans for the sport around the country.
Yeah, it does seem like there's some similarities in just kind of the growth model or the hopes with rugby in the United States and with cricket in the United States, and kind of these goals that are a few years out with potential international competitions. Give you a chance to sell the sport. I mean, what makes it? I mean, you're one of the founders of the franchise. What makes it exciting to see in person?
Yeah, I'll use an example. I had never watched ice hockey, right? And on TV, you can't even follow the puck sometimes. But you go live, you watch a Kraken game live, and you see the buzz, you see the energy, you feel the energy. And then these guys are just amazing athletes, right? I mean, they skate for a long time, they spin on a dime, right? The amount of kind of skill and power and endurance you need to have, it's the same thing in cricket. Unless you've gone and watched a 3-hour game, the T20 version, right? On a TV screen, it sounds kind of blasé, but you go watch it live. It's every ball, there's some action, there's music, there's fans cheering. I mean, it is an amazing spectacle. It's entertainment. So you got to go watch. And people say, hey, the rules are complicated. Yeah, but it's basically throw ball, hit ball, right? And if you can just focus on that, right? Everything else is extra. You'll figure out the rules. You'll figure out, the sport. But just go watch a game and just see what talent and skill it takes to actually hit a ball that's coming at you at 100 miles an hour.
So how can people go watch the Seattle Orcas as it stands right now?
Yeah, this year for the first time, we're having 9 of the initial games in the Oakland Athletic Stadium. And that's a good place to start. You don't have to travel as far as Dallas or Florida to go get them. And again, I mean, the real change is going to happen when we have a cricket community park in the area in a couple of years. So but if you can't wait until then, go watch the games in Oakland. We're also hoping to have free broadcasts of all of our games this year on local networks. So that could be a nice backup. But again, you won't feel the energy unless you're live.
And you do have some events here in June where the Seattle Orcas team members are going to be here in the region. What can you say about that?
Yeah, so I mean, the fan community has been amazing. Sometimes they've traveled as far as Dallas. Year one, we had a parade from Houston to Dallas, and it was all green flags and Seattle Orcas fans from the area. So we spent a lot of time thinking about how we can get that fan base energized. And last year we brought the T20 World Cup trophy to Bellevue, and 2,500 people showed up to meet some of the players and to look at the cup and so on. This year we're partnering with King County Parks to actually have our players participate in the 5K, 10K run to raise money for the parks. And then after that, we have a fan festival. And so fans can meet all our players and coaches, and, hopefully it'll be a good time. It will be a good time.
Well, I told you I was going to give you a chance to show off that T-shirt. People aren't going to be able to really appreciate it here in the audio format, but what does it say there?
It says keep calm and play cricket.
Where can people get those shirts? That's cool.
I got it. I got it in Ireland, from Ireland. I ordered it online from Ireland. So believe it or not, the Irish team is is passionate cricket, cricket team, great fans in Ireland, and this is where I got it. I couldn't find it anywhere else.
Well, as more people get to see the Seattle Orcas, perhaps those shirts can go on sale with a Orcas logo or something like that. Not to give you any ideas or anything.
Yeah, we've got some great T-shirts, by the way.
It's a great logo.
Thank you. I helped design it.
Well, Sanjay, I really appreciate you doing this and helping us tell people about the Seattle Orcas. Good luck this season. Hopefully we see you in June as well.
Thanks, Chris. Wonderful to talk to you.
There you go. The Seattle Orcas is all about just hitting the ball, getting it in play.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And like I will repeat, like I said earlier, like the best name.
And a great logo.
Yeah, I love it.
And so that is all going to be getting underway here in June. Lots of events in June as well. They have a lot of information on their website about those for the 5K and other public events coming up here in June. We did it. 51 down. You know what that means next week?
52. Who's 52?
52. It means 1 year, baby.
Oh, gosh. I was thinking jersey numbers again. Yes, 1 year. And we're going to celebrate with David Lee.
There you go.
You've been listening to Inside the Arena with Niko and Chris. Please subscribe on your favorite platform. Until next time.
Inside the Arena was presented by Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel, Seattle's closest sports book.